This is one section of my 6-part fingerpicking jumpstart course. This is a course that's going to take you from knowing absolutely nothing about fingerpicking all the way to playing your first song. Now, one thing before you start, you're going to need the tablature for this course. It's a 6-part course and there's tabs for each section, and I want you to have those. So I've created a free course guide that contains links to every lesson, the tabs that are necessary for every lesson, and the arrangement of the song that you're going to play at the end. All you have to do to get this free course guide is click the link here in the video or in the description. I really can't believe it. We're on lesson 4 of the fingerpicking jumpstart course already. By now you're familiar with the strings, your thumb knows what to do, you've moved the index finger and the middle finger onto the strings now. It's feeling good, you're pinching with power. It's a great moment. And I just want you to sit back for 1 second and just reflect on how far you've come. In just a short time. Just a second. Feels good, right? Okay. Now we're going to up the game. Okay? We're feeling good. We got the pinching. Now we're going to stagger the pinches. Okay? Rhythmically, these are 1/8 notes. So far we've just been doing quarter notes. They sound like this when counted. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the thumb's been active all the time, or we've been pinching, which means the thumb's been active. So far the thumb's been active on everything. Now we have these things called 1/8 notes. And 1/8 notes are counted 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We're basically taking the quarter note and splitting it into 2, counting both the down and the upbeat. Okay. So we have to have that. And the reason I call this a staggered pinch, if we look at a quarter note, we're using both fingers on the downbeat. Okay, we're pinching right on the downbeat. 1, both fingers are doing their thing. In a staggered pinch or in 1/8 notes, I just flung my hair there for effect. In a staggered pinch or an 1/8 note, the thumb's going to be on the 1 and the index or middle is going to be on the and, hence a staggered pinch. Okay, it's almost like a push and a pull. The push is on the number and the pull is on the and beat. Let me show you what I mean in terms of what we know already. So, going back to the C chord we've been using throughout this course, we're going to start right there. And the same series of pinches we're going to do that we've done over the C chord already. The thumb on the A and the index finger on the G. The thumb on the A, index finger on the B. Thumb on the A, index finger on the high E. Same pinches, nothing has changed so far. So we're going to start by pinching the A and the G string with the index and the thumb, like so. That's a straight quarter note. Then we're going to do a staggered pinch. The thumb's going to hit the A, and then the index finger is going to answer by hitting the G, like so. So that sounds like 1 and, 1 and, or push-pull, or thumb-index. Okay, so we have the straight pinch, which is just a downbeat, pinch, and then thumb, index. We're going to do that same thing over the A and the B string. We're going to do a pinch, and then thumb, index. And then we're going to move to the thumb on the A, middle finger on the high E string, a pinch, and then a thumb, middle finger. This is a great exercise to get used to the kind of the variation in feel of a straight pinch versus a staggered pinch, okay? So we're going to start out, I'll go through the full, I guess it's the first 3 measures of the tablature. It'll be a pinch and then a staggered pinch, a pinch and then a staggered pinch. It'll sound like this. So you'll get the pinch and then the staggered pinch. Once you have that, we're going to go straight 1/8 notes or straight staggered pinches. This is where you're really going to feel the most, I'll say, push-pull effect. It's always going to be, it's almost like a teeter-totter motion. The thumb's going to be active and then the index finger is going to be active. The thumb's going to be active and then the index finger is going to be active. So it's a push-pull or a teeter-totter. It's this balancing act, and almost as you're playing it, it's almost as if you're almost rolling your wrist. I'm exaggerating. That's pretty severe, but it's going to feel, you're going to feel this back and forth, almost pendulum momentum. That is a good thing. That's exactly what you want. Now, when you're using your index and middle finger, I didn't mention this in the previous lesson, but I'll mention it here. You're using the pad of your finger. Again, don't worry about fingernails. Don't worry about trying to do that. Just worry about getting the pad of your finger on the string and getting a good solid tone. Okay, so again, we're going straight eighth notes here, and it's going to be kind of a push-pull. It's going to sound like this. We're going to use the same kind of territory that we've been using over the C chord. We're going to start with our thumb on the A string, index finger on the G, thumb on the A string, index finger on the B, thumb on the A string, middle finger on the high E, thumb on the A string, index finger on the B, and there you have it, okay? Now, I'll go through that same exact thing in time, but I'll call out the fingers being used. It'll sound like this. Thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index. Okay, push with the thumb, pull with the index or middle. Now that you have that, we're going to layer one more thing on. We're still going to do straight eighth notes, but now we're going to alternate the bass. Okay, so we're kind of just getting used to this whole idea. Now we're throwing in the alternating bass, which you've worked on already. It's no different than what you've been doing already. We're just alternating or rocking the bass between the A string and the D string, okay? I'll go through the series that I want you to do here, and then I want you to practice that series until it becomes very, very comfortable. It's gonna start out with your thumb on the A string, index finger on the G, thumb moves to the D string, index finger to the B, thumb to the A, middle finger to the high E, thumb to the D, index finger to the B. That's the sequence, okay? Remember, the thumb is still doing what it's always done from lesson 1. It's just rocking the bass. It's always gonna be on the downbeat. It's always pushing, and then now we're adding that kind of pull feature of the eighth note where our index finger and middle finger are active. So in time, it's gonna sound like this. And if I call out the finger names as I do it, it'll sound like this. Thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index. Right there, this is a core fingerstyle pattern, and one that I want you to spend some time on and really kind of develop that muscle memory so you can almost do it like if you're just watching TV. You should be able to just totally go through it, not have to think too strongly about it. At first, you're going to have to think, but I want you to develop that muscle memory. We're then going to do the same exact thing we did over the C chord, over the F chord. Okay, we're going to go through the same kind of almost introduction to this staggered pinching idea. We're going to start out with the pinches that we know over the F chord. That's going to be with the thumb on the D, index finger on the B. That'll sound like this. And then the thumb still staying on the D and the middle finger on the high E, like so. Okay. And then we're going to do a straight pinch and then stagger it. So between the D and the B string, thumb on the D, index finger on the B, it'll sound like this. Straight pinch and then staggered. Or pinch, thumb, index. Then we're going to do the same thing with the thumb on the D and the middle finger on the high E. Pinch, thumb, middle. Pinch, thumb, middle. So that's the pinch versus the staggered pinch, or eighth notes. Now I want you to do just straight eighth notes. That'll sound like this. Thumb on the D, index on the B, thumb on the D, middle on the high E. In sequence, it'll sound like this. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. Now we have one more layer. We're going to throw the alternating bass in. Now, we're breaking the rule here, and we're going to use the thumb between the D string and the G string, okay? We're going to go thumb on the D, index on the B, thumb on the G, middle on the high E. That's your sequence. Sounds like this. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. So now we're going to use that same layering idea and bring it to the G chord. We'll be using the same G chord we've been using throughout this whole entire lesson series. Pinky, 3rd fret of the high E, ring finger, 3rd fret of the low E, middle finger, 2nd fret of the D, of the A, rather, sorry about that. And what we're going to do is pinch the low E and the G together, and then stagger them. Pinch the low E and the B together, and then stagger them. And then the same thing on the low E and the high E, this time the middle finger's on the high E. Pinch and then stagger. Same exact series of kind of introduction to the pinch versus the staggered pinch that we've done. It'll sound like this in time. Once you have that, we're going to go again to straight eighth notes, doing that push-pull motion with the thumb and the index or middle, depending on what string we're doing. The first one's between the low E and the G, then the low E and the B, then the low E and the high E, low E and the B, low E and the G. So it's push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, thumb, index, thumb, index. So it's kind of, you know, when I was first learning finger picking, I always would kind of say what I was doing, like say what finger I was using, because this really helped lock in the patterns. Just a little tip, it may help you, it may not. If it doesn't help you, just don't worry about it, it's okay. Then we're going to add the alternating bass line to the straight eighths. Now our thumb, again, I'm just going to restate that our thumb is doing the same alternating bass line that we know already. This is a part you know already. We're just now staggering in that index and middle finger. The thumb's going to bop between the low E and the D string. Okay, so we're going to start out, thumb's going to hit the low E, index finger on the G, thumb moves to the D, index finger on the B, thumb to the low E, middle finger on the high E, thumb to the D, index finger on the B. So that's the basic pattern. It'll sound like this. It'll go thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index. Or if you like the push-pull idea, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. So there you have it. We've gone from pinching straight quarter notes to now you know how to pinch in a staggered fashion, and you've been introduced to eighth notes. This is really essential for rhythmic diversity. So once you have this, that's exactly what we're going to work on next in lesson 5, rhythmic diversity. We're going to switch up doing straight pinches and staggered pinches over these same chords that we've been using. You're really getting good at finger picking now, and you're close to basically being able to develop your own patterns. You've just finished one section of my 6-part finger picking jumpstart course. This is a course that takes you from knowing absolutely nothing about finger picking all the way to being able to play a song with the technique. Now, each of these 6 lessons has corresponding tablature. Plus, at the end of doing all of these lessons, you'll be able to play a simple arrangement of the tune Freight Train, but you'll need the tab to do so. So I've created a course guide which contains links to all 6 lessons, the tablature for each lesson, and the tablature for the arrangement of Freight Train. All you have to do to get this free course guide is click the link in the video or in the description. Thanks a lot for checking it out, and I'll see you on the lessons.